All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to get to a point where we maybe understand a little bit better what we're doing and why we're worrying about monomials. And one of the reasons is just the order in which we write things. Just like you learned that 0 comes before 1, which comes before 2, which comes before 3, and so on. And then you learned 1/4 comes before 1/2, which comes before 2/3, which comes before 70 or 7/10 or 70%. However you want to look, we looked at the order in which things are. Well, there's an order that we go ahead and write our expressions or equations. And whether you've realized it or not, you've always been asked to follow this order. So let's talk about it real quick. We're going to talk about the idea of standard form. The standard form of an equation says this. Write the terms in monomial degree order. So first we have to recognize that we are adding or subtracting within the expression that we currently have on the screen. That means I have 3 different polynomials right now. This is actually called sorry, not a polynomial. Wow, use the wrong word. Monomials. We have 3 different monomials. That means it's actually a trinomial. Tri meaning 3, and then the monomial means we have 3 of them. So 15x in blue is one monomial. Then negative x to the third is actually the second monomial, and positive 3x to the 0 is the third. Now, we didn't have that last one to begin with. I actually added it to hopefully show that it makes sense what we're doing. All we're talking about doing is taking this negative x to the third and moving that term to the beginning. That's because we write a standard form of any polynomial in order of the degree of the monomials. Since 3 is the largest monomial I have in this, that term is written first. Then, because this x actually has a 1, it is the next term. Now, it's positive, so I'm going to write plus 15x. Now, I'm not going to put the 1. I only put it there to remind myself, hey, it's got a 1 exponent, so it's a first degree monomial, and that's less than 3, so I'm counting down or backwards. And I'm still left with a positive 3. Now, again, I'm not going to write x to the 0 because I added that in the first place to remind myself this is still in terms of x. It's just 0. So it's going to be the last one I write down. And here we now have in standard form the original equation or expression that said 15x minus x cubed plus 3. We now have the standard form of that same expression, negative x cubed plus 15x plus 3. Now, identify the degree. Well, the negative x cubed is to the third degree monomial. 15x is the first degree monomial. And 3 is actually the 0 degree monomial. Excuse me. Then the leading coefficient of the polynomial. Let's see, that's going to be -1. Basically, right here is the leading coefficient. In other words, it's the coefficient that's listed first. Leading coefficient is the coefficient listed first. All right, now with that said, Mr. Spees, there's no number in front of that x. Well, we got to remember another rule, that anytime there's no number, it means it's actually 1. Just like when there's no number for an exponent, it means 1. Wow, seems to be a pattern there. Sorry, I paused because my brain just went, huh. But there seems to be a pattern there. Whenever things aren't written, it's either going to be 0 or 1. In this case, happens to be 1 because when we're dealing with multiplication, exponents, or anything like that, Anything that's not written but is there is a 1. And anytime that we're dealing, and also division, sorry, anytime we're adding with addition or subtraction, anything that's not written is going to be dealing with a 0.